Welcome back to another hour of Jazz Unlimited with Paul Anthony. This week we'll listen to an interview I did with pianist Les McCann on November 13th, 1983 in Washington, D.C. I had first met and interviewed Leslie Coleman McCann from Lexington, Kentucky, 22 years earlier, 1961, while home on summer vacation from college, when he performed in my hometown of Rochester, New York. I stayed in contact with him all that time, and when he visited Washington, we would kind of hang out, play tennis. By the way, great tennis player was he. Despite his rather portly stature, he had a magnificently powerful serve. You'll notice during the interview a playful familiarity between us, which shows our long and fruitful relationship. We discuss various subjects like the pros and cons of concert promotion, what a typical day is for Les, both at home and on the road, and he'll play an impromptu concert on our Studio Steinway Concert Grand. We'll also feature a cut from his newly released recording and end with his most famous tune recorded at the Montreux Jazz Festival, Compared to What?
This is Paul Agony, along with my good friend Leslie McCann, who stopped by tonight to talk to us. You don't have to say anything. I'm going to take you with me everywhere. Just let
That's good. I love that.
How are you doing?
I'm doing beautifully.
You look wonderful, and you're playing just as great as ever.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by, Les. It's a pleasure talking to you. And
see you later. Nice to meet you.
We were just talking. I got Josh Cohen brought me in the clippings of the
Josh Cohen?
Josh Cohen, my erstwhile compatriot here at the mighty Wurlitzer. Brought in some, I want to talk to Les about this, that's why I'm prefacing this with these comments. Announcing the Miles Davis concert, which we talked about last week on this program, with Miles Ahead was going to be kind of a chronicle of Miles's groups over the years. Big extravaganza. And then the review done by the same guy who wrote the pre-concert piece.
Are we talking about the same show?
Yes. Yes.
The show, when I heard was that it was not even a Miles Davis show. It was just to honor him, you know, and all these other people were supposed to be there. And Radio City Music Hall?
Yes, but he was supposed to be there also, of course.
I don't think he knew about it.
Oh, he did? Well, it says right in here.
Did he show up?
He showed up, and what the tragedy of the thing was, they had I don't know how they paid these people to be there.
They didn't.
Everybody, I could believe it. I believe it. They had everybody, almost every single person living now that played with him from the 1950s on, including George Coleman and Percy Heath, not Percy Heath, but Jimmy Heath, and all the, Herbie Hancock was there, Ron Carter, Tony Williams. That whole crowd was there. And the tragedy of the thing, apparently, was that they
never got on.
They got on, but not with him, you see. He played with his group later. But then the thread of the thing was, it was not a chronicle of Miles's career. They just brought these different people on as if it was a concert for so-and-so and so-and-so. And it was just terrible.
Well, see, but that's the way they always do. They're poorly conceived and poorly followed through on. And, if I was Miles, I would not want to play with guys I used to play with unless it was just one song. Because what I'm doing now is what I would want to show, you see. I could see them being there, but it wouldn't, when he's that far away from that, he wouldn't want to play with them.
All right. Let's assume that's true for...
I know the man personally. Okay.
Do you? Does he talk to you? He doesn't talk to me, that's for sure. Yeah. I can understand what you're saying, but given that, I think that they should have taken, for example, to put George Coleman together with Hancock and Carter and Williams, and maybe bring another... They had 1 million trumpet players there for everybody. John Faddis and Lou Soloff.
But we're leaving out one very important factor.
What?
Egos. And musicians and what they go through,
Well, what kind of machinations would go on that would prevent that from happening?
Well, first of all, the way it was put together. I mean, it's obvious. If you have something like that, people would expect that they want to see these things, the same thing you're talking about, happen. So if it couldn't happen, don't come there thinking that's what's going to happen, because they're going to tell you exactly what's going on. I mean, they made you believe that all these things were going to happen by the way it was promoted. Mm-hmm. From what I hear, there was 42 people that day. 42 acts. Wayne Newton was on the show.
Was he there too?
Chris Connors, Shirley Horn.
See, well,
all these people, and they keep 40-some people on one show. And I mean, when the people came out, some of them came over to where I was working, New York Fat Tuesdays, and they were all depressed. because the ones they wanted to hear, it was too long for them. And by the it was like, so to me, it was, from what I hear and what I can feel out of it, it was just poorly organized. Great idea, but it was just the first step.
Do you think that kind of thing is ever organizable? Could anybody organize a group of 40 jazz musicians?
Well, it wouldn't make sense to have that many people on the show
let's
anyway.
say 25. Let's say 20. Let's say
it should be no more than 5. And it should, if it's work done right, it should be done right in conjunction with someone close to that artist or that artist himself. So that the thing is, everything that's promoted is very clearly understood, so that people are not fooled.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Now you're talking about the customers, not the musicians.
Right.
Now, I know from my experience at that occasion, from promoting a few concerts or whatever, that I have gotten what I call understandings from certain musicians about what was going to be performed, okay, what was going to happen,
That's
all right?
right.
Only to find out, and based on that, I mean, I don't just say so-and-so is going to play the, the Euphonium. I mean, I say, can you play this? And you go, yeah, certainly I can play it. Will you play it? Yes, I will play it. So I write in the promotion that so-and-so will play Euphonium. Only the next time it comes up, when the gig is there, I say, where's the Euphonium? I didn't bring it, man. I left it at home, So, I mean, and then what do you do, see? So how much of that can be in there, too?
Well, see, I think when it comes to any form of the music itself, which we're talking about, creative music, jazz, that most musicians, and especially people that I know, I'm going to say especially, what they're feeling at that day, at that moment, is what they do. That horn may not mean anything to them that day. If that's something else that they play, or like electric piano over acoustic. It's just where you're at the moment that counts.
I can understand that. But what bothers me and what gives jazz musicians a bad rap is, I understand creativity and what the emotions you go through. But there's a certain amount of business element that it enters into that thing, too. When for over a series of times, you either don't show up or you don't bring what you were supposed to bring, the promoter says, hey, sorry, I'm going to write McCann off on this thing because I'm not going to use him anymore.
But see, that's not going to happen with me.
Well, I understand with you.
Well, who are you talking about?
Oh, I mean, various and sundry people.
That doesn't happen anymore.
It doesn't happen
Maybe
anymore.
somebody hasn't showed up.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
Let's get in the fight. Come on. No, see, what gives... One of the things that gives jazz a bad name is bad promotion, bad production, let's say, how it's put together. The people that like jazz and like musicians are often trying to do things that are out of their realm, but since they're the only ones who care and have maybe a little money, they do it the best they can. Mm-hmm. And often it's boom. But somebody's got to try it, and maybe from all these bumbling things, something good will come out of it. To have 42 acts on one show is, unless you make it a 2-day affair and you come in whenever you want to, knowing who's going on at what time, that never works.
Yeah. It doesn't, yeah. Let's change the subject a bit now.
I don't want to talk about anything else.
You don't? Okay, then and we'll sing the national anthem and go to black here, right?
Go to black?
Yes. Well, that's a technical term we use in the television business. Dip to black, we usually say,
How are you going to see these guys?
We aren't. That's the key to it. We would like. Will you consent to tickle the ivories for us?
Oh, sure.
And then later on, you can play piano over here behind.
Here we have an elephant collection in here.
Tusks, as we said.
Tusks.
Let me talk to you about. We've talked music so many times before, and most people know what it is you're doing. What do you do? And I know you're going to give me 28 bad lines here, all right? So I want you to preface this thing. This is a setup question, but
okay.
I'm going to have to bear the brunt before I get to the real meat of this question.
Okay.
What do you involve yourself in beyond music on a day-to-day basis? I mean, what things you for a time you were interested in photography, for example?
What I do? Well, in the last 2 years, I think I get up in the morning. I'll give you my day, okay?
Okay.
You want the road
typical day?
The road version or the home version?
I like both versions because I think it's significant.
Okay. And when I'm at home, I get up at 5:30 in the morning. Okay.
Even when you're working.
6:30 when I'm working. Okay. But no, I automatically get up at 5:30 in the morning. If I have some calls to make back east, which is perfect for me at that early hour because it's 9 o'clock you know,
Mm-hmm.
by the time I'm ready, you know. I paint and draw.
At that early hour of the morning.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For about an hour. At 7 o'clock, my friends come over, or if I have a lesson, I teach or play tennis for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Then I take an aerobics class, exercise. Then I make a few more calls. Then I go to Hollywood and play tennis for the rest of the day. Come back home about 5 and paint for the rest of the night, which is till about 9 o'clock, and then I go to bed.
Uh-huh.
Very exciting life, isn't
It is.
it? And now, sometimes I'll go on a trip like Santa Barbara up to the mountains around L.A., which is always beautiful. Or I try to keep. I'm trying at this stage of my life. I'm taking space to do some of these kind of things like art, painting, drawing, photography, and I've never really ever done that. You know, I can almost be. I'm at the point now where I don't want to even answer my telephone. You know.
Now, during this period of time when you're tennising and or drawing and doing whatever you're doing, is music preoccupying you at all during this period of time?
There's music in my head all the time, you know. So when I practice, I mean, I didn't even put that part in there because that's like I try to get in at least 2 hours at night.
Every day?
Yeah. I mean, it's just I don't even think about it. I just go right to the piano. It's just I'm doing what I have to do, you know, and often I'm waiting for that cycle that happens often, which is where I'm totally into music or totally into whatever it is, and I'll start focusing on. I'll put away the art and just work on new compositions or things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now that's at home. When you're on the road, it's got to be dramatically different than that, I would imagine.
Well, I get up at 6:30. Okay. Then I paint.
But you don't get home till you don't get home till 4:30. What are you talking about? I mean,
well, I don't know what it is. I get up. I have an automatic system, man. It works.
even if you go to bed, you don't get off the stand till 1 o'clock.
Well, I love watching the news, you see, on television. I love morning news, and I love the network. And, you know, to come to town, I want to see my friends who are a couple of them on television.
Big-time television.
Paul Anthony, Jim Vance, you know, all the heavies, you know. But what do I do when I'm on the road? See, this is such an ideal situation for me. I'm staying at my friend's house, you see. So I don't have to go anywhere. I can paint all day long.
Well, what if you're in a hotel? When you're in New York, you're at Fat Tuesdays. Were you staying at a hotel?
I stayed at another friend's house. That's why I can now go to New York. I hated New York for years. Not because it's not whatever it is supposed to be as a city, but I just, you know, it's too much for me. I'm a country person. I like the woods. Mm-hmm. So now when I go to New York, I have a piano there, practice all day long if I want. Mm-hmm. Have 2 big cats that chase me all around, and I paint.
But do you walk the streets? Or
I like to walk it early in the morning. I'll go for a long walk just for exercise. Mm-hmm. You know, there are things I have to do, like visiting my agent, going and maybe seeing someone who has some show, visit a store or something. But I try to really limit that, you know.
So I think what you're saying basically is that you have more of a balance in your life now, where it was not totally maybe consuming by music years ago.
Yeah.
That comes with age and maturity.
Of course.
Doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
We're going to listen to a cut from Les's new LP called The Longer You Wait, which is a fine record on the Jam label, Jazz American Marketing, local.
Jam
label.
Records, wonderful company.
Jam Records, yes it is.
Yes.
I've known that company long and hard. This is a cut which you played the other night when I heard you. I think you kind of worked through the LP in the course of the evening. This is called Just Like Magic.
As the sun begins to rise, I picture you and smile. I know that in a while I'll soon be in a